Welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 In, 3 Out, the most unique Seahawks recap show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and find me out on Twitter at Clinton Bon. I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz, and find him out on Twitter at SeahawkersPod. If you're watching this live on YouTube, hey, hit the like. Great time to hit the subscribe. Even a greater time to share it with a fellow 12. You just knock on their door, come on, knock on their door and say, hey, if you don't know this podcast yet, well, do better. You ought to know it. Brandon, the Seahawks are 2-2. And Brandon, we scored 48 freaking points last night, Brandon. 40.
Good number.
It's a good number. It's a good number. Now it is 3 and 3 out, and we gave up 45 points. So there are things to discuss, Brandon. And now a day later, I always want to check in, make sure you got your mentals and your chickens lined up. How you feeling a day later after winning 48-45 versus those kind of roarful Lions, man?
Yeah, okay. Now that we're through the first quarter of the season, essentially with 4 games in, I'm trying not to focus too much on the negative, because I think going into these first 4 games, 2-2 is kind of what I was hoping for in terms of the outcome after 4 games. So how they got there, we could go to negative town and focus on the defense and say, man, oh man, that has to get better for us to improve. But at the same time, man, oh man, our offense has been what has gotten us to this 2-2 point. And so I'm excited about that part of it. So yeah, I'm very happy that our team is 2-2 through 4 games, and we have some exciting things to talk about with the Seahawks offense.
We sure do. And, it is 3 and 3 out, right? So it is the sober yin, the raging yang, the whole thing already. We like to talk about the nooks and the crannies and the buttery goodness. So, a couple of things we're not going to talk about. And obviously, hey, hit the instant reaction show from last night out on YouTube or on the audio stream already. Great. Go get that. YouTube.com/Seahawkers podcast. We're not going to talk Geno because we don't talk about the stars. And Geno is a star. We're not going to talk about DK for the most part. DK was a flat out star. We're also not going to talk about just how bad the refereeing was. If you want that stuff, the instant reaction from last night was wonderful. And oh man, speaking of wonderful, Brandon, take this one away from out of the gate here.
Our executive producer of our live shows, our Ryan 911. Now, you said all the people that we won't be talking about. Ryan's asking, will this be the week Drew Lock gets an in?
It just might, Brandon. It just might. We'll have to wait and see. A little like Bat-Tusi cliffhanger right there. But there is this one thing. It hasn't happened too much this year yet, and the power of the word yet. We have one rule, and one rule only on 3 and 3 out. But I always get this kind of selective amnesia after things happen. Please remind the good listeners, what's our one rule, Brandon?
There is one rule, and I think Reflect the Sun is coming in via chat with the rule that will continue on through this, at least the next couple weeks. The one rule on this show is that we are rooting for a Mets versus Mariners World Series. Let's go.
Very nicely done. So we could call that a side quill, a little sidecar.
Okay. The real rule is when we win, we start with an in.
We start with an in, Brandon. Hit the whammy. Let's get to it.
Where's my whammy?
Where's the whammy? It's okay, folks. The beauty of going live is sometimes you misplace your whammy. Sometimes DK has to take a crap in the middle of the game and takes a cart. Sometimes Brandon has to find the whammy.
It's sometimes it happens, and yes, you need the whammy. You got the snail coming in with the $2 and in to Abe Lucas being the best right tackle in the league. Look, we've got a live show. We've got people coming in with the ends before we've even started with the in.
Yeah, just you pile. Hey, if you want to put a super chat in there, we're like Ron Burgundy people. You put it on the screen, we're gonna read it. It's all good. But good job by the snail. Hey, that's a take. And I could say he's been quite amazing. And a little more foreshadow. We might talk about him a little bit in this upcoming 3 and 3 out. So Brandon, check it in. Do we have the whammy or is there no whammy? I could go either way.
What are we doing? No whammies?
No. Do you have the whammy? Is the whammy button ready? There it is. Okay. Without the whammy, what do you got? We got nothing here. All right. So I think the good listeners know, and if you're new to the show, fantastic, welcome. We like to paint the canvas. We wet the canvas a la Bob Ross style, the liquid white, to lay the base. Quarter one, early. You know why? Because it started early. It was consistent. 12:30 to go. Very first drive of the game. So we're talking 0-0. Seattle's on our own 42-yard line, and it's a 3rd and 3. And credit to Ford Field. That place was freaking loud. Really, really good job by those fans. This is trips left. DK, Lockett, and Goodwin trips left. Fant is kind of just off the side to the right. He's on the right-hand side. And Geno in shotgun. Penny off to his right-hand side in shotgun. This is the play early on where you kind of knew things were humming. So on the hike, the dudes, the 3 wide receivers trips, they kind of go out in this like little half flying V formation, Blue Angel style, Brandon, Blue Angel style. They're careening into the green.
I'm familiar with this play.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what happened throughout this whole play.
They create a couple of layers, and then all of a sudden Metcalf goes vertical, taking the safety with him, and there's this beautiful little isolation. So do you realize who's covering Rashad Petty in the flat in the open now? How is the scheme?
I think the linebacker was the one who was left covering Rashad Penny.
Yeah, number 34, who's their captain. It's I think it's Anzoni, I believe is how the Rice-A-Roni treat, the San Francisco treat himself. I think it's Anzoni.
I remember the play. I don't remember all of the individuals on the Detroit Lion defense where they were at any given moment.
Well, that's why this is 3 and 3 out. It's all good. And so you get this beautiful mismatch out of the gate. And again, Geno's on time. It's an isolation play. It is meant specifically to go to Rashad Penny. These are the plays for literally a couple of years now that we've been screaming for, clamoring for, and just did not get. And I'm not going to go into the Russ stuff with the Broncos because we all see what's being said over there. But a lot of it is like, how come he doesn't take these? I don't get why he doesn't take these. Why is he always holding the ball? Why is he always going for deep shot, kill shots? Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. But he ain't our guy anymore. Geno operating this system, and got to give the love to Shane the Main Brain. This game was exquisitely called. So from Jump Street, a huge 3rd down conversion, Brandon. And out of the gate, we're moving the ball. And it's just, it's equity. The ball's going across to everybody. Everyone's involved. This concept was just lovely, man. So again, that's Q1, 12:30 to go. First drive. If you have a chance to go watch it, rewatch, I recommend anybody who's listening to this or watching, go watch that play and just start to get excited for how much this offense can now do because of the freedom we got with this kind of system.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ryan, our executive producer, on this one. Is this just another in to Waldron? I'm going to have to take away your ins to Waldron at some point and just recognize that he may be one of the stars of this offense. We have to give an in to somebody here, Clinton. And
okay,
I'm going to tell you exactly who I'm going to give a micro moment into on this particular play.
You do it. Take it over.
Okay. You have a blitz. That's the Lions are showing blitz on this particular play. And they end up rushing 5. Now, one of the reasons why this play works so well is that the guy who, number 99 for the Lions, I don't know his name. I didn't memorize all the name, but that's number 99 for the Lions.
Aquana.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's coming and essentially stunting around Lucas, but you have Noah Fant, who he just gets enough of a shove on number 99 that it throws off the timing just enough that Lucas carries his defender out beyond, and kind of, you can see number 99 gets shoved, and then he's standing there like, which way am I going to go? Because I can't loop around the outside because Lucas is blocking his dude, and I can't go inside because now there's another lineman there waiting for me, and everybody else is blocking so well. It just, now you said that play is exclusively for Rashad Penny. Now, if the linebacker carries with Penny, then that opens up the middle of the field there for Noah Fant to just drop right into coverage there. And you have, again, not just an easy 3-yard pass over to Penny out in the flat. You have an easy 3-yard pass right in the middle to Noah Fant.
Look at you. You picked it right up. And that was an alley-oop where I wasn't even all that close to the rim. and you still threw it down like Sean Kemp. So I appreciate you. And you know what I really appreciate too, but well, I of course appreciate you, but getting called out. I love it. Comment saying, is this another in for Waldron? Yeah, it kind of was, but Brandon found the micro moment. I was being lazy. Brandon brings it home. I still get the assist because that's how alley-oops work and all, but good job, Brandon. All right, hit that whammy, and good job, executive producer. That's why you're doing your job. All right, hit it. We got some else to get to. Okay, folks, there was a lot of things that were interesting, and I want to bring inside this out. I'm going to end it with some positivity, because on the rewatch, it wasn't as nearly as egregious as I think the first watch felt. So, but this isn't out. The out is going to go quarter two, 13:24 to go. Lions are at Seattle's 31-yard line. It's a 2nd and 14. And this is where we got three dudes rushing. You think it's three guys rushing. And all of a sudden, Barton comes screaming through the A gap on a blitz, a very effective blitz, forces Goff to try and just unload it real quick. He doesn't see Nwosu. Nwosu just did, just kind of scampered back, went from defensive end, just sat into his zone. He's not seen. The out, I'm actually going to give to Nwosu because we can't drop easy interceptions. Cannot do it.
That's not an easy interception.
Oh, man. Go rewatch that play.
That's like a dart from that you're expecting a defensive lineman to catch.
That is as easy an interception in the NFL as you're going to get. And Nwosu is not, is not Adams. And no offense to, I'm not saying that because he's injured, because Adams can't catch the friggin' ball. Nwosu should catch that ball. Any defensive end, sort of skillish player in the NFL. We're not talking like, a nose tackle. By the way, Al Woods would catch that ball. It's got to catch that ball. And the reason is the defense early in this game, to kind of bring it back to some goodness real quick. The defense was a lot better than I think shows out with 45 points given up. We had 3 and out, punt, muff, 3 and out, fake punt, should have been a PI on the receiver. That should have been offensive interference. And then this particular play a little bit later, Nwosu should nab that. This should have been game over in the mid-second quarter, and it wasn't. So I know it's a tough one. There's glaring things that everyone else is going to talk about. Nwosu's got to catch that ball, man.
I see where you're going with it, but an out to Nwosu is an out that could have been given to Michael Jackson for a missed tackle, to Josh Jones for missed tackles, to let's see, who else missed tackles on this game? There's a lot of guys on defense that I feel who are so much more deserving of an out in this game, and we're giving it to Nwosu for a pass that he maybe should have caught.
There's two other outs, and yes.
All right. Here we go.
That's the way it goes. All right, whammy, back to the ends. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So this one, I think you're going to love, Brandon. I think you might agree with this one. Let's see. So quarter two again, 10:05 to go. The ball's on Detroit's 49. We got the ball. It's 2nd and 25. We talked about this in the instant reaction show, that we dug ourselves out of 2nd and 20s, 2nd and 25s, and we got ourselves into way more manageable 3rd down situations. And then Geno was just friggin' magic on this particular play. So 2nd and 25, this is a clinic from our left and right tackle in symmetry. Brandon, if they were in an Olympic-sized swimming pool with caps on and shaved legs and bathing suits, and there was some sort of, beautiful orchestration going, they were on a synchronized swimming team, they could not have, executed their blocking together as one in this beautiful arc and arch around Geno, to the point where they actually meet, like they come full circle with their dudes. And at one point, Geno just steps up, and the two defenders, who again is Anzoni and Aquara, they hit each other because they've come all the way around. They've been led like dopes around this giant circle. Perfect technique. Now, Geno has to step up, and there's a little bit of pressure up the gut. Actually, they did a pretty good job, but there's a little bit of pressure, but there's plenty of daylight. Geno takes off and goes, I think he gets 13 yards and sets up a 3rd and 12. And I think we end up with a field goal that drive. The execution from 2 rookie tackles with the symmetry and the poetry in motion. It's if nothing else goes right this season, this might be the end of the year for me. Just amazing.
I'm very happy that we're giving an in to our left and right tackles. 0 sacks on the day. Whoever they were going up against, whether it was those 2 guys that you mentioned, Aiden Hutchinson, the 2nd overall pick in the draft, they gave up 0 sacks. And even when you look at the number of pressures they gave up, Abe Lucas, just 2 pressures on the day, didn't result in a quarterback hit. You have Charles Cross, 1 quarterback pressure, didn't result in a hit. So you had those 2 guys, rookie tackles, going up against, they have some guys on the defensive line. Now, it's not, they aren't the 49ers or the Rams.
Yeah, who
but
is?
Rookie tackles, and they're giving up 0 hits, 0 sacks on the day. I'm very happy with the 2 tackles so far.
Good. I'm glad I could bring you back to the positive side there. And I've been thinking about these guys. They kind of have like a little double dragon thing going. A little double dragon. I can see the 8-bit thing, and you're throwing the knife and you're kicking the guy, and they just don't let anybody get near their guy. like that's their job. They just double dragon and kick the snot out of people. It's been a joy, man.
So which one's Billy? And
is Billy
and
the
which
blonde?
one's I don't remember. There's the blue one and the red one, and one of them's named Billy.
Okay, let's say Billy is Cross. Fair?
That's fair. I just had to know.
Okay, Billy's Cross, definitely. All right, whammy time. Let's get to the next out. Well, I'm glad I got you back, Brandon. That makes me feel better.
I know your first 2 were questionable, but you reeled me back in with the third in, or the second in, the third
and
thing.
Again, this was a difficult one from 3 and 3 out perspective to score, in the sense that I didn't want to talk about some of the missed tackles and the stuff. Now we'll talk about some of the stuff, because some of it's like we got to talk about some of the stuff. This particular one here, we got. That's right. We get this beautiful circle by the double dragons, Billy and the other dude.
Jimmy.
Jimmy's
the other one.
Billy and Jimmy. They make the guys crash. It's wonderful. The very next play. So the next play is an out. That's the 3rd and 12. It's at Detroit's 38-yard line. Lovely concept. Trips right. You got Geno in shotgun and DJ flanked to his side. So this is the play where the trips right guys, they all just kind of head out, and clearly they're going to go block. And DJ just scoots through the line, and clearly he's going to go block. So you got Fant, I think it's Goodwin and Lockett. And they got this whole thing set up, and you got Metcalf just doing a little drag, just 2 yards over the line of scrimmage, a little drag. And Geno hits him in the gut, and Metcalf's not looking. And I don't get it. And I realize again, it's like, wait, you're going to give an out to Metcalf? Yeah, I'm going to give it out to Metcalf, because because is, if Nwosu catches a ball, if Metcalf catches this drag route, he's on Akwara again. Number 99 is coming up a lot in this game. The scheme has got Metcalf on a skilled defensive end, but still he's got a step or 2. He's dragging across the route. And if you freeze frame it, you got dudes who are about to go just seal off this edge for Metcalf. And I think he either gets that first down or comes darn close. And obviously the point of the play, Brandon, I think, was to just secure a shorter field goal, like get a shorter field goal.
Or maybe he catches it and makes a play and gets upfield, because there were moments in this game where, if you just go to one of the plays we're probably not going to talk about because it was such a big play, but that 3rd down run where it was 3rd and 16 and Penny just around the edge scores a touchdown. On that play, you're probably not expecting a touchdown run. You're probably, just trying to catch him off guard, and hey, maybe you get a first down. Maybe you just get a little bit closer for a field goal. In that case, they got a touchdown.
Yeah, maybe the turf monster gets Penny again. Who knows? Who knows what
you
will
never know when
there.
the turf monsters show up.
I like the fact that Penny got by the turf monster, but then got the turf monster back with two long touchdowns. So he said, "Take that, turf monster. You're not getting me a second time. No."
I also like how this out is going to a pass catcher who's actually supposed to, like, his job is to catch passes,
right,
and not to a defensive lineman whose job is to sack the quarterback and not so much catch passes.
Yes, it's all good. They're all professionals. They should be able to catch a football, especially when it's right in their freaking hands. And so DK is going to wear the out. Although with all that, he had a great game. he was freaking awesome. So take the out. We won the game anyway. It's all good. We got one more in, one more out to get to. Let's whammy that thing. What do you say? Whammy. It's working. It's working. Okay, where are we at? So we're back to
back to an in.
That was
the
an
snail
okay, gotcha.
with an in, a live in to the Raiders for helping our draft position and finally posting their first W at the perfect time.
Yes,
the snail with the $10 super chat.
Oh, the snail, the man, very very nicely done. The two buddies who I have in my town of Westbrook, Connecticut, that work in the town over here at a prep school that's literally about 5 minutes away. Two teachers that are huge Broncos fans. They texted me last night like, can we give Russ back to you? That was their text. Can we give Russ back to you? And I wrote back, no backsies. No backsies. We got our guy.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good with Geno.
Yeah, because he's playing really well. And again, sustainable path to doing this. It won't be this successful every week. And New Orleans is coming up next. New Orleans can play football at a higher level defensively, but they will move the ball, which is super exciting.
Want Geno to score 41 points with the offense every single week.
Why not? That's it.
Sustain
it. Why not? And let's ride that good wave into this third.
Put sideboards on what Geno can do and can't do.
You know what? You ain't wrong. So quarter three, Brandon, in quarter three, 5:23 to go. 31-23. This is the drive after the Lions make it a one-score game. Then they fail on the 2-point conversion. They get one of their 1,000 rando phantom flags. Something happened and somebody touched somebody where they shouldn't have, and who knows, but not. And by the way, we're not going to show you the replay. Love that. Thank you. Right. No big deal. We don't care. We don't mind. 2-point conversion, keep the game to a 10-point lead. Nah, who cares? Or a 9-point lead, 2-point. Nah, don't show it. And then Goff scampers in for the 2-point conversion. So it's right after that. So they got the momentum. The place is again buzzing. So again, 31-23 at this point. And it's a 2nd and 12 throw to Geno by Geno to Metcalf is so good. Beautiful throw. That sets up a 3rd and 1. And that's where I want to focus. The 3rd and 1 play, we got a super tight bunch formation. Ken Walker back there. Ken Walker gets the ball. There's 8 in the box. He gets hammered again. I think it's Anzoni. I think it's the San Francisco treat. Once again, he does what we're hankering for other Seahawks linebackers to do. Sees the hole, fills the hole, meets Walker dead to rights, a half yard behind the line. And, come hell or high water, man, he just wills his way over that line. And it was just that kind of moment where I'm like, we got this game. And I felt it was like Rocky IV, the Russians cut the whole thing already. And Walker falls forward, gets that 3rd and 1 first down. And it was like, holy crap. Even though it was a yard to go get, I didn't care. We went and got that yard, Brandon. I was up out of the couch chair thing, fist pumping, and I was fired up, dude, to see Walker get that. How'd it make you feel?
Yeah, there were so many moments in this game where it came down to those 3rd and short type plays. And, whether we're talking about Noah Fant in that first in or Walker here in this particular moment. Yeah, it required these guys to do that little bit extra. And I have some theories on, I don't know, just why things might be working. Like just that little bit extra, I don't know. There's some things I feel like we're seeing this year that we haven't seen in years past. And I wonder what, those little extra ingredients are that make everything work. And
do you want to go into them, or we got lots of shows this week. So you're going to reserve some for the,
maybe I'll save it. Maybe we'll just see.
Well, one thing I did love.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, exactly. Tune in in a couple days, right? We got many shows coming.
Or stay tuned until the end of the show. Maybe it shows up there too.
Maybe we come out there too. And one part that I certainly love about some of those run formations that we keep doing, the trip tight ends. I love it, man. The trip tight ends formation. It's a version of Smash Mouth without having to be like fullback and the kind of wishbony thing we were doing earlier in the year, which I think we audibled out of at one point. We showed it and audibled out, which is cool.
There was one time too where we showed it and then they had to take a timeout because Or there was something that happened and I was really disappointed because I'm like, oh, there they are. There's Fant and Parkinson and Will Disley all lined up on the right side.
I know the exact play. It was a 3rd and 2, and we had to delay a game, and it went to 3rd and 7. But that was the play.
Was it a delayed game, or did Pete call the timeout just in time?
Oh, maybe that one too. There was one where they were in trip tight ends that got pushed back to 3rd and 7, and they changed formation. Then they got it. They converted it because we didn't punt. Don't know if anybody knows that. But the trip tight ends formation, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I dig it all. I love what it does. Once again, Fant might have had a small line, but there was a ghost penalty on the play queued up for Fant where he went for 15. Disley, for the PNW Prop Star listeners out there and viewers, that was my number one prop of the week, over 15.5 yards, smashed it. And obviously
in the first quarter, I think.
Yeah, first quarter. Like it was very, very early. You love those that cash early. And Parkinson was involved, and 2 for 28 again or something like that, right? So 14 yard average. Just a lovely humming offense. All right, Brandon, we do have one more out to get to. That's the shame of when we win, we start with an N.
Yeah.
But let's get to that last out because
so
then
many
maybe
people. There's so many people this could be.
Yeah, there's a lot. Let's see what it is. Okay, I'm doing like the reverse Vanessa Williams here. I'm saving the worst for last here, Brandon. So everybody knows this play, but the reason I think it's so bad is because I think it changed the game. The defense up until the last drive of the first half, the score's 24-9, and we gave them the first touchdown essentially, and then we had that other challenge on the not a physical challenge, not a red flag challenge, but the one where they got the 3. That's the one where Nwosu dropped the interception, right? So in my book, I'm like, they should not have scored yet. This should be 24-0 or more. It is what it is. This particular play, we're up 24-9, Q2, 3:41 to go. Detroit's at their own 12. This is the 2nd and 23 play where I sometimes I have to talk about the super duper obvious. Barton gets lost in La La Land. I don't know what to call this play. Like Barton is sitting in his zone. He looks to peek behind him. And I think on the replay, I think he looks and the guy's just not there yet. So I want to give Barton like the benefit of the doubt that he didn't turn, see the guy and actively ignore him. Yeah. However, it's Kennedy, who was like a practice squad guy who got called up and played pretty well. And Barton, I think, is supposed to carry that guy and recognize him because there's nobody else there. And he's wide open ends up like a 30-yard gain. That's the drive to remember that Jamal Williams punches it in with 0 seconds on the clock. And instead of 24-9, it's 24-16 going to halftime. And it's a 1-score game. It just starts this mental wheel of us having a way worse defensive game than I thought we should have. And until that point, we were actually playing okay defense. So it's an obvious one, Brandon, but my out, that's the Barton on that 2nd and 20 freaking 3. We've seen that way too much already this year.
Yeah. The idea that you could have a tight end just stroll behind both linebackers because it was, and maybe part of it is due to the communication by Brooks. Maybe Brooks needs to say something to Barton like, hey, here comes dude.
Do better.
You got to cover him.
Yeah, cover your guy.
I don't know what defensive communication sounds like for linebackers, but I do feel like maybe there was something that was missed because on a 2nd and 23, you don't allow their tight end to get behind both your linebackers and pick up a 23-yard catch down the field.
It's very and the part that is sad about it, and I'm using that word with sincerity, is like we saw the very similar thing the week before. Well, on that 3rd and 17, where we let the Falcons off the hook, right? And then a drive was created from that momentum. So, all's well that ends well this game. We win the game. Great. We're 2-2. We're looking up. We got to go. The Saints are banged up. They got to get on a plane, come home, lick their wounds. Ingram might be out. Kamara's already banged up. So is it going to be a healthy diet of Latavius Murray and company?
Oh yeah. They don't get there after London bye week.
No. And to Bloomy's credit, now what was it? Hawk DC. What was that was something better. Hawk VD potentially.
Dick VD.
Dick
Yeah.
VD. That's it. It's a Bloomy, aka Dick VD, Hawk Van Dyke. He called it out in the preseason. He said, this is a big, because he loves that. That's his thing, right? The
Right.
tinfoil hat was on.
Loves
He said
looking at the rest days for the different teams.
Yep, because this is a big advantage that New Orleans has got to go to London and they don't get a bye week. They got to come back. Now they're home, but still, they still got to make that international trip, and that is something. There's no Concords out there. It's still a long flight's a long flight. Okay, so Brandon, with that, yeah, I mean, anything else on the linebacker play? Anything else you want to see, or players that you saw that were, you know, filling in a bit way before we do the, before we do the thing, the little spring.
I don't know how much longer Cody Barton can play this poorly before something changes. How many weeks does this have to go by to where they bring in somebody like, I don't know, KJ Wright, who's sitting at home right now and could play, I think, better just coming off of his couch into a system that he's probably not so familiar with, if it's going to be this 3-4 style system. Man, oh man, I hope that John Schneider has forwarded him a playbook and said, you know, part of your retirement, your one-day retirement, is that you need to be ready when we need you.
I would love to see KJ back. And you know, I totally realize that it might be a ton to ask a dude. However, the way I think about, and it could be wrong, you know, I'm not an X's and O's guy, but the way I think about Cody Barton's position is often that he's like, go get the ball, you know, react, fill the hole, go get the ball. And then of course, sit in your zones and do what you're supposed to do zone wise. And we've seen Barton attacking the wrong places over and over and over again, like going to the wrong holes and leaving giant vacated spots, and not just this play. So I'm with you, man. I don't know what the threat level midnight is that's happening, you know, with Barton, but at some point they will cease and desist and be like, you don't get to play anymore. You know, you're not good enough. Remember when Shaquem Griffin, remember they put him out there like game 1 versus the Broncos, and he clearly was not ready to play linebacker in the NFL. He didn't see the field as a linebacker really ever again for the most part.
And that was due to an injury that first week. But yeah, you had higher hopes that he could develop into a type of player who could be, well, I think what you're saying is it's very obvious when a linebacker just does not seem like they know where to be and when. Yeah. And I'm getting that sense from Cody, which is strange with him being a veteran. And yeah, I don't quite know what's going on there.
And I know he's the whipping boy of the hour, or the whipping boy the first quarter of the year.
Brooks wasn't a lot better.
I don't know. I think there might be a lot of that. Someone really trying to, someone affected by the other play. You know, when there's like you get a really good guard next to a center, and you're like, oh, the center's pretty good, or vice versa. I think we might be seeing a good amount of that not just missing Bobby, but missing competent linebacker play next to him is causing some sincere issues for Brooks. That's my guess, at least, because I don't think he's so out of it. What do we got by Luke here?
He says Barton listens to, well, hit a blocker, runs wrong way to hit a blocker, drop 5 yards, watches receiver run past him, and stands exactly 5 yards deep, etc.
Yeah, that a bit of the playbook that he's running right now. And I think, you know, at that, I think it's probably time to exit the Barton whipping boy chain, because he's getting it everywhere. He's getting it on all fronts. Not saying it's not deserving. I'm very hopeful he'll be able to play. He has to play significantly better. That's the thing. Not just, he has to get back to some level of par.
Snail. Barton is a living Madden glitch.
Yeah, between that and Jones's inability to like execute the Tecmo Bowl tackle, you know, where you just hit like the B or the A, you just go straight at the guy's legs. And when you miss that and Bo Jackson's gone for 90 yards on your screen, we're seeing, you know, a lot of that. And that's frustrating. With that, again, if folks have the ability, if you have NFLlive.com or NFL Live, or you DVR'd it, I would say go do yourself the favor, rewatch the first half defensive snaps. And I don't think you're going to be so infuriated with the defensive play until the last drive of that second
Yeah.
half. They were pretty good until that point. So it's actually almost a good half of football, which again just gets,
They almost made it, except for
but
the
it gets
one.
completely lost. It gets
Right.
so lost, and everybody's just saying it was total trash. It was 45 points, therefore it's total trash. And sometimes it's more nuanced than that. And sometimes it's a muffed, it's a fumble or a missed interception. And there's reasons why we end up giving up 45 points that are not good. But the first half of that game was way better than the box score shows. So that, again, just want to give that encouragement, the words of encouragement there, because I think it can be better. So Brandon, we know our rule, right? We have the one rule. When we win, we start with an in. And
Yep.
of course,
the second rule is Mets versus Mariners in the World Series.
That's rule 2. And then rule 2 sub A, when the Mets and Mariners do make the World Series and we win, we not only start with an in, but we get the brand in. You get the ball. You get to serve it over to me. I get to see what you're going to serve up. I don't know what it's going to be. It's your show, man. What tickled your fancy? What's your in for the week?
Okay. Well, I want to go. I know you said that we're not going to go to Geno Smith for
this is yours, Brandon. You do what you want to do with your brand in. I am not here to do that to you.
Because I want to give my in to Geno Smith, because I go back, and this is what brought me to it, Clinton, is you bringing up that very first 3rd and 3 that, if the Seahawks don't make it there in that situation, we don't have an entirely punt-free game. Mm-hmm. They're going to punt if he doesn't make that little pass out to Penny in the flat. Or if, Fant doesn't execute and get that little bit of a push that allows 99 to come around the outside with a full head of steam and affect the play, maybe make Geno throw it a little bit sooner than he wants to. And I like Geno in this moment just because he feels so calm and cool behind center in this offense. And I have to think that that's part of it. I said earlier, I feel like there's something in the mix that just is making this offense work. There's something different with the seasoning. And I think it's something that Geno Smith provides with that little bit of seasoning. And it's it's kind of the cool factor, but 2, I think everybody knows to be cool because he's going to execute the play as it's supposed to be run. And it's not going to be like, okay, we're all going to do our jobs for about the first 4 seconds. And then who knows what's going to happen, but be ready because things are going to go down after the clock hits 3 or 4 in the quarterback's hands. And we have to make things work. No, that once you hit 3 or 4 seconds, it's because, Geno's going to do something with it. And it's probably going to be going to the thing that's supposed to happen. And so for Geno Smith, having that coolness factor in the offense, I'm giving him the in.
Brandon, my only wish for the rest of this season is that we get as many Brandons as possible. I love them. They're lovely. You're lovely. And there were so many moments where the camera would focus on Geno coming to the line, like right up in his face, like in his grill. And you are spot on. He is just like literally just like, just making his way around. He's no deer in headlights syndrome. He's in complete body control and complete control of like the emotional check and just the vibe he's giving off around that team. And then he's doing things like that 3rd and 16 run. He checked into that run. That was Geno. Geno saw something. He checked into it. Oh, Geno's touchdown. He called that. He checked into that. He's probably saw where the linebackers were, probably saw the gaps and goes, I got a 50-50 shot at taking this to the end zone. So 100% with you. It's the biggest thing. And I'm glad you brought it up because yes, we love the micro moments. We love the nooks and crannies. None of it's possible without a supremely confident and competent QB back there. And we're getting all that right now. The one thing I want people to be ready for in the Pacific Northwest and everywhere that, I'm a Connecticut guy where we have Seahawks fans, Geno Smith is about to become the national story. And you got to be ready for Geno Smith as a national story. So yes, Ryan. Thank you so much. The MVC. You know what? It won't be Waldron. That's a great in there. Great guess. Brandon, do you want to take the MVC this week, man? Do you have a couple you like there, or would you like me to give it? And by the way, we should tell folks.
I have the brand in. No, the MVC is yours.
Okay.
Now you can choose what I picked, but you have sole authority to make this call.
And we should remind folks what the MVC is. That stands for the most valuable cranny. And of course, it is a very physical and very real trophy that we print up each and every week. We put the placard on there. We send it to the VMAC, and it sits in their lockers or wherever they collect, trophies after a few weeks now. And it increases the chakra. It really brings, it embiggens the noblest spirit. And it really, symbolizes what this show is all about and what we believe the team is all about. So that's the MVC, the most valuable cranny. You know what? I got to go back to the well on this one. The MVC is none other than the double dragon left tackles. We got two left tackles who are kicking butt. Billy and Jimmy taking the MVC, throwing daggers, kicking people till they disappear on the screen. That's it, man. They are it's because it was just a random 2nd and 25 scramble by Geno, but it's way more than that, and that's why it's the MVC, Brandon.
I like it. What do you say we hear the ins and outs from the flock coming up next? But before we get there, if you want to become a member of the flock, you can go to getintheflock.com. $3 a month or more gets you into our Discord group, and we have a channel there specifically for ins and outs. So you can leave your ins and outs there. You can tweet out at Clinton Bond on Twitter. Use the hashtag 3i30, and Clinton will collect them there. And he throws them all together for us to read here as we go along. And shoot, you can even tune in live and give your own ins and outs, like Luke M. giving an in to the driver of the cart, taking Metcalf to the locker room in his moment of need. Yes, the driver of that cart deserves an in.
Deserves a tip, at least, right? I mean, you got to give. So, man, oh man, before we do get to from the flock, how about DK's tweet that you retweeted that I saw as well? That DK says like something along the lines of like, "Hey,
the clinch walk wasn't going to make it."
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, absolutely hysterical. That's something where like my wife could give a darn about National Football League football. She cares that I'm a Seahawks fan, but she just doesn't care about it. But that's something I show her. She's like dying laughing.
That's something that we can all die laughing because we all relate to those moments in life where, see, even elite athletes in the middle of a football game, they have those moments too.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and we had plenty of great moments. We have a lot. So if yours does not get read, it's not, and you sent it to us in all the ways that Brandon had said, it's not that we don't want to read all of them, but in wins, we don't just start with them. We don't just have the Brandon, but believe it or not, there's more people who want to send their ins and outs when we win football games, and we love it. So Brandon, let's start out on Twitter. We got Derek W0. He goes 3 and 3 out. Defensive effort throughout the game just didn't cut it. Poor tackling, no pressure to speak of. Only sack was on a 2-point conversion attempt. Actually, Nwosu had a sack. So that part is factually incorrect, Derek. That's okay. The improvements haven't been noticeable through 3 games. Out. He starts us that way.
But then Derek W0 comes back in saying anxiously optimistic about JMy31. That's Jason Myers out on Twitter. Through 3 games and 2 quarters, he's been automatic, except for the one where he fell down, essentially. But I could get used to this. 56-yard field goal for an in.
Yes, love it. And then we have Susie I say it's Beauchamp, I think, at Susie B. Hawker. Easy to remember, SUZY B. Hawker. She's also loving Myers in. Jason Myers' 56-yard field goal. Also the Woolen TD. We didn't even talk about Tariq Woolen and the beautiful pick 6 we did on the Instant Reaction show last night. So go check it out. Also out multiple 2nd and 20s and the Lockett special teams fumble. Yes, the 2nd and 20s they usually kill us. The beautiful part of this game was nothing killed us. 2nd and 20, 2nd and 23, 2nd and 25. Geno.
the snail coming in with the live out to the candy and coffee diet DK has. I have to think that candy and coffee diet contributes to in-game moments like the one he had.
Yes, a river runs through him for sure.
Bailey Liborn out on Twitter coming in with the in. Yes, we did not talk enough about Tariq Woolen. So yes, here's another in to both Tariq and rookie development with the pick 6 today. Tariq coming in. And I think I saw someone posted the pick 6s that have happened in a rookie year in the first 4 games. And it was Tariq Woolen and 3 other names, I think all from the early 1980s that
interesting
you would not recognize. And so it was cool to see that Woolen is doing something that hasn't been done since the early 80s.
Yeah, so not exactly like a trait or something that predicts, future success, it sounds like. However, I think it's more along the lines of it's just not done that often, right? So for a rookie to get a pick 6 this early in his career, and oh, by the way, second pick on the year, very impressive. Always impressive. Car. This one's in the Discord, which again, Brandon mentioned, gettingtheflock.com, become a member of the Discord. Geno really knows how to use our tight ends. Car's spot on, man. The tight end usage to me, if you had to I know we're not a quarter through the season quite yet because of the 17 games. If there was a quarter in, it's the way our tight ends are incorporated into this offense. It just in ways we haven't seen it in, I hate to say it, but yeah, about a decade.
And I don't know if it's necessarily, if you can always attribute that to the quarterback and as far as the tight end usage goes, because I mean, it's not like the guys are, some of it has to do with the scheme. Some of it has to do with the actual players. I mean, Will Dissly's been here, but Noah Fant is new. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Colby Parkinson was as effective in previous years as he's showing us he has been through these first 4 games. So I think part of it too, you have to credit the development of Colby Parkinson.
Agree. Fully and well said.
All right. Who are you up next? Boy's biceps and in to Geno Vick.
Yeah, just 49 yards.
Geno getting the job done on the ground.
Yeah, just and calling his own shots, scrambling, beautifully done, extending plays, just well done. All right, we're going to go to right hand Dan in. Well, this right hand Dan knows where it's at. In Shane Waldron, the perfect game so far, which that was at like 1:30, my time, right? So that's a half an hour into the game, which basically just became Shane Waldron, the perfect game. That's what he called.
Right hand Dan all over the coaching staff, though, giving the out to Pete Carroll for still being in charge of that red flag. And yes, taking the red flag out for the pass, the one that should have been a pass interference on the special teams call for the fake punt, and then also later on making the call. And it was interesting listening to him on 710 Seattle Sports Radio today on his coach's show, because they asked him about his red flag challenges. Yeah, and he made the comment that, yes, it was just above 2 minutes. It was his last opportunity to use the challenge flag, and he is not concerned about his particular ratio with his terrible calls to getting the calls correct when it comes to the flag. He said partly because it's not good, and so he doesn't have anything to compete for necessarily, but it was his last moment to do it, and so he was going to use it and just take a swing.
That interview was funny. It just was, it was comical. And if you lose, I don't think he's so joyous and sharing that so freely, where he's like, yeah, there was no replay on that, fake punt. I was just guessing. It's like, oh my goodness. Okay. I'll tell you who's not guessing here. We got Leo in the Discord, just Leo in to Metcalf, making it look easy. It even looks like he wasn't sure. He had a beat on that safety. Like he had that particular play. I think it's on Akuda actually, where at the very last second, Metcalf makes the eye move and like catches the ball as it's kind of descending into his lap, but gave away nothing because he was kind of stride for stride, or Akuda was stride for stride with him in that particular play. So very nicely done. Very nicely done. He says, hey, run him over, stiff arm. He goes, F it, I'll just run with it. Metcalf just had again, coming into his own, 149 yards. He's a big boy, and he's ours.
Henrik Hoxson with the out to Cody Barton piling on after 2 holding penalties against Detroit. At 2nd and 23, he refuses to cover catfish. That first down and the touchdown right before halftime is on him.
Yeah, and we talked. That's exactly
You
right.
covered that one.
We talked about it, and Henrik is spot on. Frost, who I believe Frost in the Discord. You know what? I'm not going to give away Frost's secret identity in the Discord. That's Frost. He goes to the Discord and calls himself Frost, but I know who you are. He says, say what you will, but Geno has not been boring this year. He just keeps making plays. He gets better with each week. Agree. He also has an out. He says, can we let somebody else return punts? There was other stuff in there too. We got a lot to get to. My particular take is D. Eskridge has to earn the right and the trust of Pete Carroll to go catch punts. And I want him to earn that right, but I also trust Pete.
Yeah. Or Reflect the Sun here in the chat saying, why not K9 back there? Ken Walker, number 9.
No,
can he do it?
No, because we talked about putting star running backs into positions like that. And, lo and behold, the game after the preseason game where he returned kicks, lo and behold, yeah, this hernia shows up. They never said how. They never said what play it was. All I know was it was the exact game where they're like, we're going to try Kenneth Walker on kick returns. And I was anti it then, and I'm anti that now.
Eskridge, Penny Hart, one of you guys has to step up.
Yeah, one of those.
Maybe Crawford. Why can't Crawford do it? He obviously can't cover on fake punts.
That wasn't his fault. Crawford did well there.
Design Pete's Beach House coming in with the in to Nwosu. That is all. And yes, I believe that Amy's in to Nwosu counteracts the out to Nwosu early on. So now the balance sheet is even.
Sober yin, raging yang. And I think Amy's talking about the sack that Nwosu had. And I love the production quality from that particular play because they had the shot right behind Carroll as the replay. And that was such a cool shot. Just watching Nwosu duck inside, get there, and then watching how fired up Pete was. That was quite awesome. All right, we're going to skip down to DK Metcalf Fan Club, who, again, we all know her in the Discord. She says a big in for varied plays and not just running up the gut all the time. And then I think Right Hand Dan also said the same thing, but she says jinx, so it's all good. But that's Lisa in Seattle. I gave away her secret identity. Again, Brandon, the play calling and the variations and the formations, exciting stuff, man.
Michael Dixon's big balls coming in via the Discord in the offense, making Russ ask himself, am I just a jerk? I think big balls used a little bit different. See, he's throwing out stuff in the Discord that he knows that we're going to have to catfish live. Yes. But here we are. We have another beautiful peanut punch against the Lions to add behind Bam Bams. And yeah, Kobe Bryant coming in with that nice fumble that made a difference in the game as well. And putting points on the board after turnovers. Didn't do that last season. DK not getting performance anxiety, knowing that everyone watching was now timing him to determine if he was going 1 or 2. Let's see. Yeah, DK just providing all the comedy relief from this game. Was able to start the next drive after what I timed to be an absolute growler. There you go. Michael Dixon's big balls. I'm not even going to get to the rest of them.
That's okay. They're the half-hour comedy hour brought to us by Michael Dixon's big balls, and he does a wonderful job. Again, folks, the Discord is a lot of fun, so you should join. All right, Jeremy Evergreen also in the Discord. No punts all game for the first time, which is just wonderful. Out, giving up almost 400 yards to freaking Jared Goff when his running back and 2 best receivers are out. We talked about that Jared Goff is fairly competent, and if we're not covering that first dude, he'll hit him. He will hit that person, and he did. So I was not surprised that Goff did what he did. But again, watch that first half, and you might feel a little bit better about where it ended up.
I don't think we've called out John Ryan's face in the Discord yet, but out to our special teams coach for not finding a punt returner yet. Save the Tyler. Out to the dazed and confused referee crew. Man, oh man.
They were terrible. They were absolutely terrible.
Even on the rewatch, you did determine that they were in fact terrible.
Worse. worse
was
than I
bad.
thought, because I could stop it and be like, okay, at this exact moment, they called that offensive PI. Cool. Like the ball's out of Geno's hands. Metcalf is engaging his wide receiver, but not like, he's just within the yardage you're allowed to engage a dude. The ball's already in the air, and Pennyhart's not even touching his guys running by him. And they're like, pass interference on 19 and 14. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So super bad. Not super bad. Jamie Williams in the Discord. We talked about tight ends. However, in all the tight end play we have, we get with Geno playing. I can't talk enough about the tight ends. Now we're going over to the Facebook Ring of Honor for some of these. Brandon, why don't you take it away?
All right. We got Kenneth Reyes with the end of the offense out to the defense. Easy as that.
It was simple. Could have saved us a good hour, and a great job by him. Chris Boucher, one of the funnest names to say in all the Ring of Honor. He goes, this deserves to be the 3 in, 3 out as an in. Let's go, boys. And he posted the graphic of the offensive line, 0 sacks allowed, 235 yards rushing. Yeah, that's I'm sure Pete Carroll is celebrating all those things as a major in that locker room.
Yeah, contributed to the MVC right there. Gordon Stuff coming in with the live in via chat. The Montana thing. Will Dissly coming back from not one, but 2 tendon ruptures with his stellar blocking and soft hands.
I like that he has the Don soft hands. You ain't wrong. We kind of went a little bananas in the offseason. They were like, what are we doing giving Will Dissly $8 million? And the more and 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 more things keep happening, I have to just keep going. Maybe Pete Carroll and John Schneider know what they're doing.
It's like they know stuff sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, we're back to I got it. We're back to Colin Stringer in the Ring of Honor. It was an okie doke. I got confused there. In all the 12s in Detroit, every time one appeared on the screen, he or she seemed to be sitting alone in a sea of Lions fans. Couldn't have been comfortable. Well done, all. In not seeing Michael Dixon and his big balls. Out to Pete's challenges. Colin, you went 3 for 3. What can I say?
David Van Cleve coming in via Facebook. Out Geno as our leading rusher in the first half. If I remember correctly, over half our rushing yards in the first half were all Geno. Rushing stats were ugly without him in the first half. We need to improve in this area and into Geno knowing when to run the ball. Stellar decision making there. Out releasing Bobby Wagner in the offseason. How different would this team be if he was still on the field? And the final in, not abandoning the run in the second half.
Yeah. Oh man, that whole last sequence, Brandon, that could have been all 3 ins, right? 3rd and 5. And I don't know about you. I know we want them to use that last time out. I'm like, guys, let Geno throw it. Like he's going to get it. Just let Geno throw it. And then we hand off. Penny goes left and he just bursts ahead for like 7 or 8. And I was like, holy crap. They ran the ball on 3rd and 5 and they put the game away. They were right. It was the better thing to do, and they executed it well. So, all right, we got Scott Romani. This is, quite apropos. In Penny is so darn electric. Out, still getting very little pressure on the QB, but back to Penny for a hot second. Yeah, man. Just you give him a little cutback lane, a little daylight. The dude's gone. He's exciting, man. He's a super, super exciting player.
How about executive producer Brian Shaw coming in with the 3 in, 3 out player of the game, number 4, Michael Dixon. Man, did you see those holds? How he held the ball on those 2, like the extra points? Exquisite.
Very well done. And thank you, Brian, of course, man, because you're the man. And if those who don't know Brian from the Facebook Ring of Honor, another reason to get in there is he's always sharing all the places that he goes throughout the globe. I'm pretty sure Brian's a pilot. Yeah. And it just, it's awesome. Like every other week or even every week. And he's like, not just a pilot that seems to fly somewhere and then not go live life. Like it's the 180 of that. It's like he's like on the side of a friggin' mountain in the Andes and he's like eating, some raw octopus out of a giant tank. I'm making these examples up. However, you can imagine, but the dude's out there living life. And I just want to say, Brian, that's really inspirational that you go do your job and then you just go like literally explore the friggin' earth as part of it. And I think it's super cool. So I just wanted to say that. All right, Jason Turner. He's got a lot of different things here. However, I'm going to circle in because we haven't given enough love yet. He says, into DK Metcalf. I love it as he got 149 yards. And one of those plays is a 54-yard long one. So out of all the things, Jason, you said, wanted to circle on that one because we haven't talked too much DK yet this one. So good job by you. And yeah, man, making a corner who shut down Justin Jefferson look like his play date, right? Just a ragdoll. Loved it.
Aaron Fisher with the in. We've called Tariq Woolen's name a few times now, but yes, what Aaron points out here is the acceleration by Woolen on that pick six. Watching the replay, it was amazing how quickly he can get into position to make a play. And that is something that I think is going to, well, for one, quarterbacks are going to start to take note, and they're going to be some throws that they're going to make a note of where Woolen is on the field and say, ooh, can I fit it in this window, knowing that he has that kind of acceleration? And so I think we're going to see a lot of quarterbacks recognizing that maybe you don't want to throw Woolen's way here before too long.
I think that's a stellar point. It's on film now. Like, people already know he's a 4.26 guy. Like, that's going to get around because of the, allure of the stats and the numbers from the combine now. And he puts that closing ability on tape with the ability to catch like he's showing. That's a great point, Brandon. Like, it's think twice. Mm-hmm. That's all. Think Absolutely. Twice. And that's all it takes sometimes. All right, folks, we have a couple more, and we just want to say thank you for sticking with us, because when we get these, I don't want to shut anybody out. Like, some people are putting 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in themselves. We got to curate. So we got a couple of more. Scott Campbell out on Twitter at 33 Scott Campbell, a good follow. He's got a couple, but one of the ones we haven't talked about, he goes out. Josh Jones, disappointing. He has ins in there as well. We did cover them. We haven't talked much about Josh Jones. Brandon, at this point, what do you want to see? What do you want to see? What do you want to see with regards to that position? And what would you do if you're sitting in, Clint Hurtt's shoes?
Yeah, I think I want to see more Ryan Neal. I have a sense that now we saw him on the field in this game, and I think maybe it was because that they were using him as even in the nickel position, or because I think we saw all three safeties out on the field in a couple moments, but I feel like there's a little bit higher upside with Neal. Going into the season, though, I was kind of excited about the amount of depth that we had at safety, because there was Jones, and we saw some good things from him in the preseason, knowing that Ryan Neal was there. I think we even have some depth from the and now I think he was out in this particular game, but I'm thinking of the safety who was the undrafted kid this year, and his name is not coming to me, but Joey Blunt. There it is. Okay. Yep. I think that Joey Blunt has the potential to make some appearances on the field too. So I just hope we start seeing the Clint Hurtt and company recognizing the players that may need to be and I think we're seeing it a little bit even with Darrell Taylor and Boye Mafe. We didn't call out Darrell Taylor on either side of the ledger in this particular game. I think if he were to take one or the other, he probably leaned more toward the out, because I didn't see a whole lot of in-type plays. And I think we're seeing more Boye Mafe because of it.
I agree. I'm with you. And, I think Ryan Neal, to take it back to the Jones conversation for just a second, he just seems to be a more assured tackler. And if he's going for it, and Ryan Neal didn't have a perfect game by any means. However, he did have a couple of stuffs. He had a nice third down stuff, I think, in the first or second drive, one of those 3 and outs. Just a more break to the ball with more velocity is really how I could frame it. And, kind of just flies to the ball with a little more precision is I think a nice way of saying it. I want Josh Jones to keep progressing. He's been a good find and a dude that, like, nobody knew who he was. So, like, yeah, get your chops. But it's one of those things where I think a little more Neal could serve us better. And I also want to say very quickly that I'm excited for the return of Trey Brown when that's right, when he's healthy. He was really good, man. He was really good as a rookie. If we get him back second half of the year in kind of full health, where he's at real speed, like game 9, 10, 11, 12, he's like another dude that's going to change the dynamic of this team and just make us stronger, which I'm very, very excited for. All right, we have a few more. Josh DeHuman, he comes in with a tweet of Brian Nemhauser, who is, of course, Hawk Blogger out on Twitter, does a great job. He has this tweet: Cross, 0 sacks. Lucas, 0 sacks. Bryant, forced fumble. Woolen, pick 6. Boye Mafe, 5 tackles, 4 solo. So about that rookie class, ... doesn't even mention Walker, and Walker was pretty successful too. This is an exciting rookie class. I think it's time to tip the hat to Schneider and Carroll and give them a little more trust at this point.
Jay Scott, AZ12, into Metcalf's boo block on Penny's touchdown run at the end of the third quarter. It looks like DK does a flinch block or something, and the defender just goes to avoid him so much that he loses his balance. Literally looks like DK just yelled boo at him.
Yeah, he definitely has like the shoulder flinch, and he's just kind of like, because he doesn't want to hit the dude because he'll probably get called for like a crackback or something like that. So he's just finding other ways to make sure the guy knows he's there. And if you're gonna go running into DK Metcalf, you're gonna do better if you know the gentleman's there, because it ain't gonna end well for you. Speaking of ending well for us, though, we of course bring in the closer, Mariano Rivera style, hopefully Edwin Diaz style. Sing the trumpets already sound the trumpets. We got Hawk Van Dyke. Of course, now he's over in London. He hung out with Ross Bell at the London game, at the Saints Vikings game, which was super cool. And he's talking about that. He says in jet lag, the Saints have been in London all week. Body clocks are all catfished up. Bloomy's onto something here, Brandon. He's calling out the fact that we got to go play a Saints team that is getting no break. Usually you travel, you get at least you get a Thursday game or something like that, or like the next Thursday, you get that 10-day window. Saints get no such love. They got to travel back and they're hobbled. And we shall see, man. We shall see if the good times can keep rolling against a decidedly better defense. I think they can. I haven't looked at the spread at all yet. I'd imagine my gut says it's probably Saints, probably no more than +3 or 4. I have to go look.
It was 5. I think the early line was Saints favored by 5.
All right. Well, let's see where the money flows during the week, and we could catch back up on that, Friday or Saturday when we talk prop bets, because we had a good week, Brandon.
We did, yeah, and so we'll be looking forward to that. Yeah, it was this game coming up against the Saints, though. Now, Geno did not play all that well last year, so now could this be the Geno Smith revenge game? We'll have to see.
It's a great point. Very, very concisely, last year, this was the most frustrating of the Geno games. And yes. I didn't think it was because Geno was poor. It just seemed like we did not allow him to try anything in that game. It was so conservative, which at that point, maybe I get it. At this point, we cannot see that. We can't see that. We got to loosen up. They got really good linebackers. Cam Jordan, they bring pressure. This is a team that brings their hats. They hit. They got the Honey Badger back there who had a pick last week. The dude's still making noise. This is a good defense and a great test. Yes, I want to see us run the ball, of course, but I think we're actually in position with this high percentage play that Geno brings that we can invert that we could do the Tom Brady thing for 20 years, which is we're going to pass and then we're going to get some soft patches and then we're going to hit stuff later with the run game, which is exactly what we saw against the Lions. And I want to hit that. I want to hit that repeat button, Brandon.
All right. Well, I think we hit all of the ins and the outs. Thanks to everybody who came in throughout this, whether you came in live, whether you came in through the Discord, whether it was out on Twitter using the hashtag 3i30. Supersize episode for you right here.
Hey, when we win, we start with an in, we get the brand in, the ledger is long and fluid, and it's got tons to go off of. And at the end of the day, DK had to take a cart to go ride off into the sunset. So Brandon, why don't we just ride off with this super duper episode into that Hawkra sunset?
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. There's that whammy.